Have you ever stepped into a place and felt invisible? Not like a ghost drifting in space, but like you're physically there and somehow completely unseen. Before we dive into this story, drop a comment letting us know where you're watching from, and make sure to subscribe so you don't miss any of our latest stories. That's exactly how Karoline Leavitt felt that day. After enduring exhausting days in Washington, fending off relentless left-wing media attacks and sealing up damaging leaks, Karoline longed for a peaceful escape. She chose the Rio Grande, a shining jewel in her husband Nicholas Rio's luxury real estate empire. To keep things discreet, she booked under the name Karoline Wilson. She walked into the hotel's opulent lobby, chandeliers gleaming overhead. But the scene was disorganized. Staff buzzed around distractedly. From one corner, laughter spilled over. She approached the front desk, where a young woman named Avery stood, her blue hair tousled, earbuds still hanging, and eyes glued to a phone screen showing progressive memes and hashtags. A grin, too wide to be sincere, spread across Avery's face as she barely looked up. Karoline tapped the desk lightly, voice composed. "I have a reservation under Karoline Wilson." Avery glanced up, her eyes barely scanning Karoline before freezing in recognition. Blonde hair, that unmistakable voice from TV. Fox News, perhaps. "Karoline Wilson," Avery repeated, tone polite but with a slight mock. "Hold on. Aren't you Karoline Leavitt? Trump's press secretary?" Karoline raised an eyebrow but kept her tone cool. "I'm Karoline Wilson. Please check the reservation." Avery's fingers tapped the keyboard lazily. Her smile stayed, but her voice dipped into sarcasm. I'm sorry, ma'am. I don't see any booking under that name. Maybe the system hasn't updated yet. We do prioritize more open-minded guests." That last phrase hung heavy in the air. Karoline caught the tone instantly. "Open-minded?" she echoed, voice sharpening. Avery gave a syrupy smile. "That's just our vibe here, ma'am. Hope you understand." The lobby air thickened. A few guests turned, sensing tension. Avery leaned on the counter, her face composed, but her eyes showed clear disdain. She knew who Karoline was, and didn't hide her dislike. "So," Karoline said quietly, "you're refusing to serve me because you don't like my views?" Avery shrugged lightly. "Didn't say that, ma'am. Just that your name's not in the system. We hold a certain standard here. I'm sure, with your Washington experience, you get it." Karoline smiled thinly. "I understand perfectly. Here's my confirmation." She pulled out her phone, scrolling to the email. "Karoline Wilson, Suite 1401, confirmed." She held the screen up. "Check again. Or tell me why this isn't in your system." Avery looked at the phone, but made no move to search further. She typed a few keys, then shrugged. "Still nothing, ma'am. Maybe it was booked incorrectly. Sometimes when guests don't match our energy, things happen." "Energy?" Karoline asked, her voice low. "You mean because I don't go along with your woke narrative?" Avery blinked but recovered quickly. "No one's refusing you, ma'am," she replied with a stiff tone. "But we value progress here, like equality, climate action. Things maybe not on your agenda, right, Miss Leavitt?" Karoline let out a short, sharp laugh that echoed across the quiet room. "My agenda? You're starting a political argument. With me. In my husband's hotel." Avery crossed her arms again. Her smirk returned, but her gaze was hostile. "Just doing my job, ma'am. If you've got issues, talk to your husband. People like you are great at pulling strings. Less so at solving problems." That was the final straw. "Check again," Karoline said coldly. Avery let out a loud sigh and tapped on the keyboard, slowly, dramatically. "Still nothing. Maybe it's because we don't cater to outdated perspectives." "Outdated?" Karoline scoffed. "You mean the values this country was built On, the ones you and your activist friends want to destroy. Avery turned red but held firm. I'm not destroying anything. I'm protecting this space from people like you. People who oppose diversity and think they can bully their way in because they're famous. Karoline stood tall, eyes boring into Avery's. You're protecting this place by turning away customers you disagree with politically? That's your definition of freedom? Avery's voice rose, full of arrogance. I choose who I serve. This isn't a place for people like you. And with that Trump press secretary label, you should have known. So you did recognize me, Karoline said, sarcasm dripping, and deleted my reservation because of your political bias. What are you, front desk or activist of the year? Avery blinked rapidly but kept her stance. Just doing my job. If you think I'm wrong, prove it. Karoline's expression hardened. She pulled out her phone and dialed. Josh, she said when her assistant picked up. I need access to the Rio Grande's internal system. Look, up the front desk account under the name Avery. I want the activity log. Josh, ever ready, replied swiftly. On it, Miss Leavitt. As the clicking of Josh's keyboard echoed over the speaker, Avery's smirk faltered. What are you doing? She asked nervously. Karoline met her eyes. Giving you one last chance to admit what you did, or I'll prove it. Avery fumbled. You can't prove anything. Maybe there was a glitch. Sometimes the system... Spare me, Karoline said, stepping closer. Why was my reservation deleted from your account the exact time I arrived? I was just checking something, Avery mumbled. It wasn't on purpose. Karoline chuckled. You think I can't prove it? She put Josh back on speaker. Josh read aloud, tone flat but exact. Karoline Wilson, Suite 1401, reservation confirmed at 2:32 p.m., manually deleted at 5:18 p.m. by Avery L. account. Prior search, Karoline Leavitt at 5:15 p.m. The lobby stirred. Guests whispered. An older man muttered, She's toast. Karoline showed the screen to Avery. Deleted, by you. Minutes after you looked me up. Avery paled. That could be an error. It's not, Karoline said. You did this intentionally. I didn't mean to, Avery began. Didn't mean to what? Karoline snapped. Teach me a lesson for not being woke enough? You used my husband's hotel as a platform for your politics. Avery backed up, voice cracking. I was just trying to protect the space. From people like you. People like me? Karoline asked. You mean people who don't toe your ideological line? You're a hypocrite, Avery. And I have proof. Avery looked around, desperate. You can't fire me for this. I have rights. Karoline's smile was cold. Your rights end where mine begin. She called Nicholas. Nick, I need you at the Rio Grande. One of your staff just denied me service over politics. Nicholas, calm but serious, replied, I'll be there in 10. Stay put. Karoline hung up, placed the phone on the counter, and kept her eyes on Avery, who stood frozen, face white, hands trembling. The crowd instinctively stepped aside, with some recognizing the man striding through. The real estate tycoon behind the luxury hotel chain. Without hesitation, he walked straight to the front desk, his eyes first settling on Karoline, then shifting to Avery. What's going on? He asked, his voice deep and commanding, leaving no room for excuses. Karoline faced him, her tone calm but edged with steel. Nick, your employee just denied me service because she doesn't agree with my political beliefs. She erased my reservation from the system, and I have proof. She raised her phone, the screen displaying the log. Reservation deleted by Avery L. at 5:18 p.m. Nicholas's brow creased, his gaze narrowing as he turned to Avery. Is this accurate? Avery blinked quickly, her hands trembling as she stepped back. I didn't... She started, But Nicholas cut her off, his voice cold as ice. I'm not asking if you did it. I'm asking if it's true. Avery swallowed hard, her eyes darting for an escape. It must have been a system glitch, she muttered. I didn't mean for it to happen, Karoline interjected, her voice laced with sarcasm. A glitch? You said that while I was standing here, and the system log clearly shows your account removed it after searching my name. Want me to read it out loud? She moved to press play on her phone, but Nicholas held up a hand. That's enough, he said, eyes locked on Avery. What do you have to say for yourself? Avery straightened her shoulders slightly, trying to defend herself. I was doing my job, sir. She doesn't represent what this place stands for. Inclusion, fairness, progress. I have rights, too. Nicholas's tone dropped, menacing. Your rights? This is my hotel, not your stage for political theater. You were hired to serve guests, not pass judgment on them. Avery's face reddened, her expression panicked. But she's Karoline Leavitt. She stands against everything we've built. Nicholas raised an eyebrow, his voice flat but sharp as a knife. She's my wife, and you just denied her service in my hotel. Was that your smartest decision? The lobby buzzed, murmurs rippling through the room. His wife? Nicholas didn't react. His focus stayed locked on Avery. Karoline stepped closer to him, her tone low but resolute. She didn't just deny me, Nick. She used your hotel to push her agenda. She thinks she can pick and choose guests based on politics. Nicholas nodded slowly, still staring at Avery. So, it's true, he said, delivering a judgment. You're finished. Avery stepped back, her face draining of color. What do you mean? She asked, her voice cracking. Nicholas stepped forward, his voice rising for the entire lobby to hear. You're fired. Effective immediately. Pack your things and leave within 10 minutes, or I'll have security escort you out. The lobby erupted. Whispers, gasps. An elderly man clapped quietly and muttered, "Good riddance." A young woman shouted, "That's reverse discrimination." Nicholas remained unshaken. Avery's mouth dropped open, her eyes wet. "You can't do this," she yelled. "I have rights. This is my space." Karoline's voice sliced in, ice cold. "Your space? This is my husband's hotel, not a playground for your politics. If you want to start fights, take them somewhere else." Avery spun toward her, eyes burning. "You're a dictator. You use power to silence people." Karoline gave a sharp smile. "I'm not silencing anyone. You're facing the consequences of your own actions. You deleted my reservation because of who I am. That's not standing for principles. That's discrimination." Nicholas nodded, his voice ringing like a judge's gavel. "You heard her. Leave, now." Avery stood frozen, hands trembling, tears spilling. "You'll regret this," she hissed. "The left won't let this slide." Nicholas shrugged. "Let them try. Now get out." Avery turned and bolted behind the counter, her sobs echoing into the back rooms. Guests clapped, some cheering, while others raised their phones. One person with bright green hair yelled, "This is oppression! I'm posting it to X!" Flashes lit up the lobby. Nicholas turned to a nearby employee, his voice low and razor-sharp. "Get the manager. Now. I want to know how this happened without him noticing." The employee paled and nodded quickly, rushing off like a storm was chasing him. As the Rico Grand lobby began to settle, Avery's cries faded behind the door. The guests slowly dispersed, some still filming and whispering about what they had witnessed. Karoline stood beside Nicholas, her piercing eyes surveying the room, a cold smirk playing at her lips. Nicholas removed his hand from her shoulder and turned toward the returning employee. "Where is he?" His voice was calm but menacing. The young man, flushed and sweating, stammered. "Mr. Hensley is on his way, Mr. Riccio. He's in the back." Nicholas nodded, his eyes never leaving the employee. "Tell him to move faster. I don't have patience for delays." Karoline's voice cut in, low but sharp. "I want to know how this happened under his nose. Avery didn't act alone." Nicholas gave a grim nod. "I agree. I want the whole truth." The staff door opened and Mark Hensley stepped out. Middle-aged, disheveled in a crumpled gray suit. Beads of sweat dotted his brow as he spotted Nicholas and Karoline waiting, silent and powerful. "Mr. Riccio, Miss Leavitt," he said nervously, forcing a weak smile. "I just heard. Is there a problem?" Karoline stepped forward, her gaze sharp. "A problem? Your employee denied me service because she didn't like my politics. She erased my reservation and used this hotel as her personal platform. Would you call that a problem, Mr. Hensley?" Mark wiped his brow quickly. I had no idea, Miss Leavitt. I'm so sorry." Nicholas's voice turned ice cold. "You didn't know? You're the manager. How did this happen right in your lobby?" Mark took a step back, eyes searching for escape. I was in the office. I can't see everything at once. Avery's new. Maybe she misunderstood our policies." "Misunderstood?" Karoline snapped, her tone sharp. "She didn't misunderstand anything. She targeted me, and your system let her." She held up her phone again, showing the system log. Mark stared at it, his voice barely audible. "I'll look into it, Miss Leavitt. I promise." Nicholas stepped forward, cutting him off. "It's already done, and you let it happen. Do you understand what this hotel represents? This is my property, not a stage for your staff's political agenda." Mark looked down, his hands clasped as if begging. "Mr. Riccio, I didn't enable anything. I didn't want conflict. Avery's strong-minded. I hoped she'd come around." Karoline's voice rang across the lobby. "Come around? She denied me in public, and you thought she'd magically improve? Are you managing or just standing around?" Mark's face flushed. "I tried to train her, Miss Leavitt. She talked a lot about diversity, and I was afraid of getting sued for limiting her rights." Karoline sneered. "She weaponized freedom to discriminate, and you allowed it because you were too afraid to act. What have you reduced this hotel to?" Mark shrank under her gaze. "I didn't intend for this, Miss Leavitt. I was just trying to keep peace." Nicholas stepped in, his voice like a final blow. "Peace? You let your staff insult my wife because you were too weak to confront them. That's not peace, Mark. That's failure." Mark's head dropped, sweat running down his cheeks. "I'm sorry, Mr. Riccio. I'll fix it, I promise." Karoline cut him off, cold and composed. "Fix it? This happened because you weren't doing your job. My husband had to come here because of your failure. Do you realize the damage?" Mark's eyes pleaded. "Please, Miss Leavitt. I have a family. I need this job." Karoline stepped closer, her tone low and threatening. "I don't care about what you need. I care that my husband's hotel became a laughingstock on your watch. You gave Avery free rein." Mark trembled. "I'll change. I'll tighten things. Please give me a second chance." Nicholas looked at Karoline, who gave a curt nod. Her voice stayed firm. "Fine. You get one shot. But if I hear again that staff are judging guests over politics, you won't just lose this job. You'll lose everything." Mark nodded rapidly, sweat dripping. "Thank you, Miss Leavitt. Thank you, Mr. Riccio. I won't fail again." Karoline turned to Nicholas, voice low. "What do you think, Nick?" Nicholas shrugged, his eyes on Mark. "I trust you, but you'll prove whether you're worth it." Then he added, "Hire someone new for Avery's position. Vet them carefully. No more political crusaders in my hotel." Mark nodded quickly, fear evident in his eyes. Yes, ma'am. I'll get on it immediately. Karoline gave him a cold, piercing look. Good. But know this. I'm watching you. Mark, don't fail me again. Bowing his head, Mark muttered, I won't. I swear. He turned and rushed off to his office, looking like a man who had narrowly avoided disaster. Karoline slipped her phone from her coat pocket. The screen lit up with a flood of notifications from X, the platform she regularly used to gauge public sentiment and monitor liberal media. Nicholas glanced over, curiosity flickering in his deep brown eyes. Anything interesting? He asked, quietly. Karoline's lips curled into a cold smile. Oh, you're going to love this, she said, scrolling through the alerts. In just minutes since Avery's dismissal, the event had gone viral online. The hashtag Karoline V's Liberal Receptionist surged to the third most trending topic, accompanied by lobby footage. Avery yelling, camera flashes, Karoline's firm voice slicing through the chaos like a White House press briefing. She tapped on a video uploaded by Air Patriot Mike 76 titled, Karoline Leavitt shuts down a liberal receptionist in her husband's hotel. This is true America. The video showed Nicholas firing Avery, followed by Karoline's pointed question, silencing the room. The comments exploded with support. She's a legend. Leftists lose again. Don't mess with Karoline. Karoline's eyes gleamed with satisfaction as she saw the likes and shares piling up. Nicholas leaned in, his gaze dark. That was fast. You're more popular than I thought. I'm used to the camera, and the hate, Karoline replied with dry sarcasm. She moved on to another post from Our Blue Wave Rises, a progressive account that read, Karoline Leavitt abuses power to fire a worker for speaking out against oppression. This is conservative extremism in action. The attached video focused on Avery in tears, and the comments followed suit. She's a victim. This is disguised dictatorship. Boycott Riccio Grande. Karoline chuckled bitterly. Victim? She scoffed. She canceled my reservation because she didn't like my politics. And now I'm the oppressor? That's classic leftist logic. Nicholas nodded, his expression firm. They love flipping the script. Villains become martyrs, but you've got the evidence. Exactly, Karoline said, scrolling further. I won't let them twist this. She opened a post from Real News Now, a major conservative outlet. The headline read, Karoline Leavitt shows the left can't handle facts. Liberal receptionist denies service, gets terminated. Real freedom, he wins. The image showed Karoline holding up her phone with the hotel system log. Comments poured in. She doesn't back down. Trump would be proud. Another liberal meltdown. Retweets climbed past 5,000 in under 20 minutes. But not every post was celebratory. An account named A Justice for Avery had uploaded a video of Avery exiting the hotel, crying with the caption, Avery fired for standing up to power-hungry Karoline Leavitt. Boycott Riccio Grande. Commenters vented, she was defending her beliefs. Karoline's a bully. This is discrimination in reverse. Karoline arched an eyebrow, her tone cutting. Refusing to serve me because of my political views is defending beliefs? They really should look up the word bully. Nicholas chuckled softly. So, what's the next move? Karoline's voice was calm but firm. Let them rant. The facts speak for themselves. She violated policy, and I've got the proof. The louder they scream, the clearer their double standards become. She drafted a post on X. Avery denied me service based on politics. She got fired for what she did, not for what she believed. That's accountability, not oppression. Karoline V as liberal receptionist. The tweet lit up instantly, drawing hundreds of likes and shares. Right-wing users rallied behind her. She's right. Don't let the left rewrite the story. But progressive voices hit back. Karoline Leavitt thinks she's above the rules. Firing someone for having a different opinion is tyranny. Karoline scrolled past, expression hard. Above the rules? She broke hotel policy, not me. She turned to Nicholas, her voice resolute. They won't stop, but neither will I. Nicholas's eyes darkened. Let them talk. I just want this hotel rid of political games. Karoline's eyes swept the lobby. After today, no one will try this again, not on our turf. Her phone buzzed with non-stop notifications. One post from a MAGA warrior read, Karoline Leavitt is the conservative queen, owned the lib receptionist and made her cry on X. Double win. Karoline gave a slight, satisfied smile. But a tweet from Left United gave her pause. We support Avery. Karoline Leavitt and her husband represent elite oppression. Sure justice for Avery. Karoline's lip curled. Elite? I just wanted a room. Nicholas placed a hand on her shoulder, voice steady. You won, Karoline. Let them yell. The facts don't change. Karoline nodded, eyes locked on her phone. Exactly. And I'll make sure no one forgets it. She paused on a final tweet from our Real Karoline fan. She didn't just defend herself. She defended all of us from woke insanity. Thank you, Karoline. Karoline smiled, eyes gleaming. This wasn't just personal, it was political. They walked through the Riccio Grand lobby, heading for the elevator to the executive suites, where they could plan without interruption. The doors closed, warm golden light casting a soft glow across Karoline's sharp but composed features. Mark's more of a problem than Avery, she said quietly. He's weak. He let the staff act like they owned the place. That ends now. Nicholas didn't argue. He's got one shot to fix it. But if you want him out, say the word. The elevator opened into a luxury suite with polished wood floors, towering windows, and a fully stocked bar. Nicholas poured 2 glasses of whiskey and handed one to Karoline. She took a sip, then set the glass down with a quiet clink. I don't want risks, Nick. Mark isn't strong enough. He let things spiral before we intervened. If we keep him, there need to be terms, Nicholas nodded. Fair. One chance, but he reports directly to me, no middlemen. Karoline met his eyes. Deal, and I want a new rule. Any staff refusing service based on politics or personal bias is fired instantly. No excuses. This is a business, not a soapbox. Nicholas smirked. I like that. I'll get legal to draft the policy first thing tomorrow. What else? Karoline sat across from him. Send a message not just here, but across your entire hotel brand. Avery's situation needs to serve as a warning. Nicholas tilted his head. What are you thinking? I'll coordinate with PR, Karoline replied. Put out a formal statement across your platforms. Let everyone know. Pull an Avery stunt, and you're out. No second chances. Nicholas's eyes lit up. You play tough, but I like it. Do it. I'll back you. Karoline nodded. Good. And I want you personally overseeing Mark. Don't let him drop the ball again. Done, Nicholas said, placing his glass down. They sat in silence briefly, the air between them heavy but charged with purpose. Karoline stood, refilling her drink. Today wasn't just a lesson for Avery or Mark. It was for anyone who thinks they can exploit us. Nicholas joined her, gaze steady. I know. And you handled it like always. She looked at him, confident. We're a team, Nick. I've protected you here just like I did in D.C. He placed a reassuring hand on her shoulder. I never doubted you, and after today, no one else will either. Karoline's eyes sparked. They'll remember what happens when you challenge us. Nicholas gazed toward the lobby. I'll issue the orders, new hires, updated policies. You take care of PR. I will, Karoline replied. By tomorrow, people will know. Riccio. Gran doesn't play games. Nicholas nodded. Good. You've earned some rest. Karoline faced him again. Today wasn't just about Avery or Mark, she said quietly. It's about standing for something, for real American values. You're right, Nicholas agreed. And we showed that. Karoline gave a cold smile. Let them remember this. Always. She lifted her glass, took a sip, and set it down with purpose. In Washington, I saw people like Avery all the time, hiding behind ideals to justify arrogance. Today, we showed them the price of that arrogance. Nicholas nodded. You did, and it won't happen again. Not in any of my hotels. Karoline turned back to the window, her voice strong and steady. This wasn't just a hotel issue, Nick. It's a win for those who believe in true freedom, not the watered-down